Charlie Kirk, when the events happened with Charlie Kirk, what was your reaction? When you saw Charlie Kirk getting assassinated, what was the first thing you thought about?
If I'm honest, I was sat with Tyler Olivier. You know Tyler Olivier, the American YouTuber? I was sat with him, and I was at my mum's house. And I looked down at my phone and saw Charlie Kirk's been shot. And if I'm honest, my own selfishness was selfish. I was worried about myself, and I'm worried about my children. Because I know my children are about to see this. And when my children see this, I know they're going to get scared. Because when I was in jail, there's a gentleman called Salwa Mamika, who was a friend of mine. He was in Sweden. And when I was in prison this time, I set up a website called Save Salwa. And I travelled to meet him in Sweden just 18 months ago, 2 years ago, to tell his story, because I could see him getting assassinated. And when I was in prison, he was assassinated on a live stream for his criticism of Islam. So, and when that happened in prison, I know my children, because I spoke to my ex-wife, she said that my son hadn't stopped crying, and he just hasn't stopped crying because he was so scared, because he sees me as that same target. So when this happened with Charlie, I was sat there because I was doing a podcast, and I saw it pop up on my phone, and then I saw, boom, my daughter, my son, my other daughter. So I saw the messages coming in, and then obviously I know how much it's going to affect me, but it affects them. And I know Charlie Kirk had children, and they were watching, and his wife was there. But a target was put on Charlie Kirk, just as a target's been put on me. Now the problem is, it's put on. Let's not say it's by the left. It is the left in America. My targets put on me are also put in by any establishment figures. For example, there's a woman called Camilla Tominley. Now, when I was in prison this time, she's a right-wing commentator, works for right-wing media. She said I was a white supremacist on national TV. Now, if you take what she said, she said I was a white supremacist, yeah? Which I'm not. There's no evidence in that. There's no truth in that. When she got interviewed recently and asked about that, she said, well, he believes that Christian culture should be dominant and more superior than Islamic. So that makes me a white supremacist, does it, love? It makes me a sensible Brit. But that's what she said. So she said I was a white supremacist. Then there was another one called Julie Hartley-Brewer who said I'm an extreme racist. There's no evidence on none of these things, yeah? And they never back them up. But if, for example, I was at St Pancras train station where a gentleman come up and tried to attack me just a month ago, yeah? And it was massive news because there was a little video of him asleep on the floor, and then there was all the media painting a picture that I'd gone on the run, I'd violently attacked someone. Obviously, I had to do a police interview when I got back, but I was the victim. Yeah? I defended myself. But people like that who attack me, they actually think they're making the world a better place. And the man who's just executed Charlie Kirk probably believes he is like the next Hitler. Yeah? But they believe these things because they've been indoctrinated and the media have weaponized words against them and put a target on them. Same as in me. So I have people who come up to me, Patrick, who hate me. Yeah? And I've had so many videos like this over the years. When I actually question them and stand there and talk to them, they don't even know why they hate me. They think I'm this racist and I'm this Nazi, but that's because the media's done a real good job to make me toxic, to attempt to have me toxic, so that no one actually listens to what I'm saying. Now, Jordan Peterson, I have to thank him. Jordan Peterson really brought me and his wife, brought me in from the dark. I was censored, I was deplatformed, I was invisible, and until I got my X account back. And then when I got my X account back, Jordan Peterson sat me down and done a podcast, which was a risk for him. Because at the time, anyone who talks to me comes under attack, and they have done for years. And well, we know this, you just had it from the Times, no? For your Manct app. But this targeting, they've been successful with, to target anyone who could bring any credibility towards my message. Then they just hope, because of all the smears and the labels, people don't actually listen to what you're saying, and they don't. Well, they do now. They're starting to now.
Yeah, it's interesting you're saying this, because the Times reached out. They wrote an article about you on Manct, and Rob, I don't know if you have the article or not. They reached out to us. They say, do you support the fact that Tommy Robinson, they sent a bunch of different questions, and they were able to get Facebook and Instagram to prevent Manct from advertising on Facebook and Instagram for a full year. Well, we had to get legal involved, asking us, why would you allow Tommy Robinson to be on Manct? We're like, what do you mean? Why can't somebody ask him a question? You know, he charges $28 a minute. That's his decision. If he thinks that's what he's worth and people are paying for it, you go put $50 if people want to pay for you. Nobody has a problem. We got Tony Robbins is on Manct, and he charges A lot more than that. You got, athletes that are on there, business owners that are on there, actors that are on there. They get to pick and choose whatever they want to choose, whatever they want to charge. But it was interesting when they attacked us with this, just because some people want to ask you a question on Manect.
Well, Patrick, you see what they've done to you. If it wasn't yourself and your belief probably in free speech, they'd have been successful with any other company. Yeah, they would have been successful. I'd have been kicked off. I'd have been silenced. And that has successfully worked for them. So as I said, you have the state and then you have the weapon of the state, which is the media. The media want me silenced. So the state don't do it. They get the media to continually attack the companies that ever give us a platform. Or say for example, I don't know if you're aware of what happened. For 48 hours before this event in London, Westminster Council contacted the company which we use to host the event. Yeah. So Westminster Council contacted them and revoked our licenses to set up our speaker systems. So there could be no speaker systems. Yeah? That's 48 hours before the event. Now, and they told the owner of the company, we will personally prosecute you if you set up those speakers. That's what they told him. So we had an emergency meeting with the police, and we're sitting with the police. I've got the full video of this, which I'm going to release. Sat down with the police, said, they're trying to provoke us into violence on Saturday. If we don't have a way of talking to our crowds and a million people turn up, there's going to be anarchy. And the police are like, we don't want this. So there's been loggerheads. There's been a big internal thing with the police, because the council were then asking the police to enforce the license. The police have then sat down with us and said, we're not enforcing it. So we will not enforce and prevent you sticking up your speakers. And it was just the council attempting, which is the government attempting to provoke chaos on the streets of our capital city. That's not their job. Their job is to uphold democracy. We had the licenses. We applied for everything right. We jumped through every hoop possible, and still, this is what they're doing. And we've faced this for years. So I can't host an event in a building in the UK, and I just know I can't. Yeah. So I sold 1,000 tickets in a week for a sit-down event, £50 a ticket in Manchester. The council and the police, this is going back years, they went in to the venue and told them, we will take your alcohol license if you host this event. So that's sort of like what happens, and it's been a tried and tested method for the media. It works. As I said, they've gone beyond you, and they've managed to get Meta to make sure you can't go on there for 4 years. They've done this to me from every social media. As I said, I'm still banned. You can't even mention my name on Meta.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. It's wild. By the way, anybody that's watching this, if you want to support Tommy just to have free speech and you want to ask him a question or have a call with him, we'll put the link below in the QR code to support the cause. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.